Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Well, here we are in the middle of a change of season, and a lot of decorations are going up. You know, we've got Halloween and Thanksgiving, holidays after that. When it comes to your decor, many of us want to see a difference, a little change it up here for the season. We're going to give you 5 easy seasonal changes when it comes to decorating, and no better than to get those from this woman. She is like a breath of fresh air when it comes to interior design. Rise Interiors is her company. Mary Jo Major is back with us. How are you today?
Hi, Steve. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, good to have you back here. And
Yeah.
this is we skimmed this once before, I remember, where we talked about if you want to change up seasons, you can add a little this, a little that. But many of us look at it and want to add all this stuff around, but we don't need to do that, right? You can keep it minimal.
Yes. Yes. It is daunting, especially in the stores, any store you walk into right now that sells any sort of decor, Target, Hobby Lobby, anything.
Mm.
There is this desire to just buy all of it, right? Like you see the new pillows, you see the new wreaths, you see all the stuff, and it kind of beckons to, you're like, I need to bring you home. And I think that all of that can have a place, but I would say that yes, there's ways that a little bit can go a lot.
Mm.
And the first thing I would say that makes, I think, the biggest difference is just bringing in something kind of fresh. So, and this could be any time of year, but right now it's kind of, I guess, nice that pumpkins are in season and gourds and all kinds of other kind of fresh things. And so my favorite way, honestly, to decorate is just getting a handful of those things and placing them around, whether that's kind of on your table, your dining room table, in your entry, any kind of little spot that might need, that pick me up. I think having like a fresh something is usually the best way to kind of handle those spots.
Do you find that when you're working or even in your own home,
Mhm.
that when you talk about those spots, those are your decorating targets? What do I mean by that?
Yes.
As you're describing that, you could put them on a table. That's all good. For me, it is the fireplace mantle.
Yeah, oh,
So
yes.
that's the seasonal thing. Like, I see those, the little pumpkins, gourds, I could put them up there when it's Christmas. There's different stuff up there. Um,
Mhm.
and it just seems like that's where it belongs. Is there, a lot of times in a home that target?
Yes, I would say think about it in this kind of way. When you walk into a space, where does your eye go?
Mm,
Right? Like where's the focal point in the room?
point.
Or where's a surface that you're not, some of these decorative things, I always find it funny whenever you put something that you think is going to look really nice somewhere, and then inevitably within 24 hours, you're moving it around to actually use the spot that it is on.
Yep.
So if you put it on part of your kitchen island or something that you're like, oh, this is nice. And then you're finding yourself moving it around to actually prep for dinner. Like those kind of spots.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I think it's better. Sometimes it's easier. It's a little less frustrating to have them in the spots where you won't be kind of touching it a lot. And so, yeah, I would say, the focal points in the room, kind of the mantle. If you're everyone's different in terms of where they put their TV, but sometimes people will have kind of a media console or something that the TV sets on, and they can have, maybe a corner of that. Or I've even done things, honestly, I like to put a little something in bathrooms, like right next to where the soap is,
Mm.
like, and when talking about fresh stuff, I actually will put little like branches or little flowers, like something that I've kind of it's on the way out usually from a grocery store, a little floral bundle. You'll get those little
Sure.
bouquets. And if I have a couple flowers that are hanging in there, I'll put those in the bathroom. But yeah, I think that wherever kind of you're going to notice, but it won't be in the way is usually the best spots.
See, in one bathroom, I wouldn't put it around the sink because the vanity is smaller.
Oh
But
yeah,
my my
no good.
my my decorating target in the bathroom is on top of the toilet. You have the lid there. It's like wasted space. I have a little plant, it's not real, sitting there now that I could replace that with something else. And to your
Yeah.
point before, the focal point, the fireplace mantle is when you first walk in through the foyer, it's not right in front of you, but it's to the left, but it's the focal point. So you're going to see that when you first walk in. So that's probably why I picked that as well. Didn't even know I was doing that.
Well, it's subconscious usually. You
Mm,
kind of tell yourself something needs to go here. I feel
right,
like something could
right.
make an impact. I want to see something that kind of helps me feel like it's something different in the space. And this kind of boils down to this idea that when there is, I think specifically a shift in temperature or a shift in, celebration, you do, you want to see something else change in your house. Like you do feel like something needs to happen, even if it's not that big. And so I think these little touches really help. Yeah, they help kind of coordinate with the rest of your life when things are kind of shifting in your schedule, having something
Sure.
visual to see too.
And it doesn't have to be a lot. I remember a couple of weeks ago going with my daughter to Target. She wanted to get decorations. I'm like, all right, sure. And it could be the littlest thing. She's 16. She got a like a pumpkin about that size, and it was like made out of yarn, but it was really, well defined and
Oh,
everything. It was
yeah.
like the 3.99 or something. And then, picked out something else and a couple of other things, and that's good. It had a Halloween feel to her room. That's where she wanted to put it.
That's perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, and that goes to that. I guess one of the other things I was going to mention is any kind of soft good. So a little pillow, a throw.
She was
Um,
looking for that. That's what she was looking for and couldn't find something for Halloween or seasonal. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Pillows are usually people's kind of go-to when they want something new in their house. And I like pillows because you tip depends. Sometimes though, you can take the cover off and use the insert of one pillow and just kind of use another pillowcase. So that way you don't have to store all these pillows, they're just kind of the cases. But yes, I think pillows are a great way to kind of refresh a space. Or
Mm,
even I would, you could even think I don't know if this is depending on your decor, but tablecloths, some sort of like kind of thing you can kind of put on top of other surfaces.
yeah, you never even thought of that. Wow. All right. So we're doing
Yeah.
five. Where are we
Five.
at?
Yep. All right. So we've gone through a couple of things. We've gone through the fresh stuff, we've gone through the soft goods. I would also say that scent is a really big part. So unless candles
Hmm.
give you headaches, which some people do, something that kind of helps smell and make the space smell like a certain season is also, I think, a big way to make it feel different.
Yeah, essential oils. And I got it last winter. Diffuser. It's not that expensive. The thing was like 20 bucks. I got
Yeah.
one for me and my daughter. And then the oils, they were organic. And I think that set was maybe $25 and lasts a
Yeah.
long time. And you can make your own concoctions and everything. I have gotten so much use out of that essential oil set, right down to mixing my own deterrent for my cats to try and get them to
What?
not scratch. Yeah, that's
I
what
didn't
it
know that
is.
was a thing. I need that
Yes.
trick.
Yes. When you buy it in the store, it's just essential oils. So,
Okay.
and it wasn't working for me.
Okay.
They was still scratching stuff. So I looked at the formulation. I went online as well, and I used the same bottle it came in, and I just amped it up with more. Not going to hurt anything or anybody.
Yeah.
And just added more. And I forget what the oils were, candlewood. I don't know.
Yeah.
I always forget. But I added
Wow.
more just so it had, a little bit. And it's not like it's an annoying smell in the room, but it's
Right.
enough for them when they go over to scratch. It's like, yeah, I'm not going here. Uh, essential
Whoa.
oils. Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. It smells nice and it makes your furniture stay looking good.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, you can add a little drop of carrier oil in there, but whatever you want to
Okay.
do. It's all
Yeah.
online. But again, so much use I've gotten out of that. And I have tons of oils left, minimal investment and smells great too.
Yes.
Mm.
Well, I love a good candle, but I do feel like the essential oils sometimes don't get as much attention because I do think they have other properties besides just the scent that is helpful. Like you're just saying,
Yeah.
helping the cats
You
go.
know,
I'd even, yeah.
I think the reason is they don't get the same attention. Um, Myself included, we're lazy. let's be honest. Your candle, you go like this and you put it down on the table unless it's already there. You light it,
Mhm.
you're done. When it comes
Right.
to the essential oils, I got to take them out. I got to, use a couple of drops here, a couple of drops there, look at the
Okay.
formula, add some water, put the cover back. Not that it's a big deal, but it's,
Right.
extra steps. So I really think that's
Yes.
what it is. Because a lot of times I'm like, yeah, I would love to smell something. I don't feel like mixing it up right now. It takes like literally 40 seconds.
Right.
That's on a plus side. So
Right.
I think it's a convenience thing. Candles are so easy.
Yes. No, that's a great point. And this is, I think decor, you can kind of there's a wide spectrum on convenience, right? On how much and how little you do. And I think that having whatever works for you is probably the best fit, whether it's
Sure.
something that takes a little bit more effort or not. I think that growing up, my mom took a lot of joy in getting out her big bin of decor and spending a whole afternoon putting everything up. And I'm a little different. I kind of want to do it in 30 minutes. And so I think, this process should be something that does bring you joy. And so I think
Yeah.
that kind of whatever part of the spectrum you fall in terms of this decor or scent, whatever you decide on, that's the ultimate goal, is that it does reflect how you want to live in your home. So whether that's a little touch or whether that's kind of all over. And so back to what your daughter picked up at the store, the little yarn um pumpkin. I will say that I don't usually encourage a lot of accessories, like seasonal accessories. I mean, there's certain times of the year that I think ask for it more, like the holiday season in particular. There's just a lot out there that you can use.
Hmm.
But I do think it's okay to kind of have yeah, just some small things that can kind of change it up. I would even say, I've seen people switch up their coasters. I've seen people add
Ah,
in like small, elements. Like I saw recently a small, like, I think it was a turkey made out of like grasses. So it looked kind of cool. It was kind of natural, but it was also, seasonal. I've even seen people, candlesticks are really in right now in terms of a decor element. And so
hmm.
people will switch up kind of the color and the shape and even the design of the candlesticks. They over the summer I saw a lot of candlesticks actually, Steve, that had like little painted fruit on them or flowers.
Wow.
I know. So, this idea of, okay, like actually, this idea of candles is like the next level of not just smell, but this very visual element that you can kind of switch up.
I walked into a house and saw candles and to your point, there were a bunch of candlesticks. They were all different colors. All different colors. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it didn't look bad. It was
No.
it was colors that were pulling from what was in the room, but it was
Mhm.
interesting how there's a bunch of them and they were different heights and it was cool. Just different.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a little more on the decorative side. I know some people that will use them, but they're mostly just to kind of
Right.
be seen. Yes, and yeah, the candlestick world has really gone up. It's I saw ones the other day that were handmade and it was like three colors and they have twisted them together
Uh,
to become like one stick. So yeah, I there's a lot of different ways you can use candles these days. But yeah, I would say some sort of small accessory. I think whatever's easy to store. That's kind of because I live in um, a a row home in DC and space is a high premium. I think anyone that lives in a city with limited space, they're thinking about, well, what takes up the least space? And so I do think you can have a lot, or it looks like a lot has changed with not many
hmm.
elements, with just a few things.
Regardless of your space situation,
Right.
do you feel that we should have a system, when we pack the stuff away so we can get it back down again, wherever it might be, labeling so it's like bam, 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 done instead of, all right, I'm going to put the Christmas decorations up outside. All right, I can't find the lights. Where is it? Is it in that bin? I don't know. Is it in that one over there? And it's just like, and it just turns into, a mess.
Oh, yes. I think organizing is key to all of this. I mean, I even have for my holiday stuff a bin with a different color lid. It has like a red lid, so I
Ah,
know specifically all the stuff in the red
that's
lids
a great idea.
are holiday. And then, the other stuff, yes, I think labeling. on the outside saying all of this is for the spring, or, all of this is for the fall. All of this is for, if you do have those kind of off holidays like 4th of July, Valentine's, everyone's kind of different in how they want to celebrate those kind of holidays. But I definitely think that organizing is key. And it's also just less stressful. So where you're not just stressfully looking for everything, like, I know I put this
Yes.
somewhere, where'd it go? And it's shoved in some drawer somewhere because that's just where we were like, oh, we have to take this down now. Where are we going to put it?
100%. In fact, when I was in the last house, the access to the attic was from the master bedroom.
Oh, yes.
Pull
Oh, yeah.
downstairs. You'd have to close the
Hmm.
door of the bedroom, pull downstairs, and then from those stairs, I was lugging down the Christmas tree box. And then one of the Christmas trees was like 20 feet tall. So that box is coming down out of the stairs. Now you have limited room to pivot. And the only
Oh,
thing that
no.
saved it was the organization because I knew where everything was. Oh, and by the way, you couldn't stand in that space.
Oh, terrible.
Not to mention it's hot. So I would
Right.
just know where I had to go. It's like, all right, those are those decorations, got those, got there. And I would almost have anxiety knowing, all right, well, Friday I'm going up there again.
Yeah.
And then you got to put it back. So you
Right.
push it all
Right.
over.
Well, and you have to do it without falling off the ladder.
Well, oh yeah. Well,
Well, you have to have a spotter while someone's, not always, but depending on what it is and how heavy it is.
well, trigger
Yeah.
for me, side note, in the house before that, the stair pull down stairs was in the garage and it was July
Uh-huh.
4th and I was getting a boogie board and I was up there and I did fall. And
Oh,
I managed to grab sort of the stairs going down, but I had like massive road rash, like
oh
from the wood.
no.
And then my foot
That's
impacted. I didn't break anything, but well, a little bit of damage there. So that's why when it comes to those stairs, like I'm very careful. And it's just
yes.
organization. Just know where you're going to go and what you need to get
Right.
down. But I
Right.
love, love, love your color coding idea because yeah, I would write with a Sharpie on the side of the box and maybe three sides so you see it, which is fine, but you got to be closer to it. If you have a red lid on a bin and you see it from a distance, that's fantastic. Never thought of
Yeah.
that. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, for other seasons, I guess you could they do make them clear or green. They make them in all, I don't know how creative they get with storage containers, but I do think that, yeah, having a visual differentiation is a really big deal.
I know this is
And
going to be a minor point, but professional organizers suggested using clear. Now, makes sense so you can see what's in it, but looks horrible when you're, walking in a garage and you have it up there on shelves and you see all these objects in there. I think if you color code it and maybe end or write on it, it's just as good as the clear. I don't know. That's just me. Maybe it's me.
yes, yes, I agree. I agree. There's this balance between end use and and aesthetics. Like, it's
Aesthetics. Yeah.
yes, I agree. I agree. The same thing goes for toys. I prefer,
Uh,
even though technically they're supposed to be clear, I prefer opaque because the same thing. It just reduces the visual clutter.
yeah.
So and I guess this kind of goes back to why maybe I like fresh decor so much, is because you can just trash it or just recycle it or throw it away at the end of the season. You don't have to store it. I would say the last thing that I would kind of recommend if you want to update, refresh your home, and this is optional, but the front door, or, however you come in, I think
Hmm.
adding something to the front door in some way, shape, or form is kind of a way to kind of introduce the new,
Love that.
whatever it is, the season, holiday, whether that's a wreath, a little sign, whether that's, I'm not saying you need to change out your doormat to be a snowman in the wintertime, but, just because I think that, yeah, they're very creative in the doormat companies. But I think that, yeah, anything that kind of greets you when you walk in the door.
It's a great idea. And if you have like a nail or a screw in the door
Mhm.
that you use for, let's say, the wreath, you can always you put another one in there, like to the point on top of the fireplace. I have
Yep.
a screw I put in between the bricks, and I just
Mhm.
left it in there. If I
Yeah.
if I didn't tell you, would not even know it's there. And I could change that up and make it a fall wreath. And when, holidays come, I could make it a Christmas wreath or whatever it might be. But I'm
Yeah.
repurposing the install. That's where I'm going. Same thing could be for the door.
Yes. Yes. I can, yes, I'm
Mm.
100%. Whatever is the least effort to switch things up. Or even, I mean, I've even seen, yeah, people who want to do the garland on
Mm.
multiple kind of holidays will have like certain hooks, like certain things that, yeah, they always leave up.
Question, digression for just a moment.
Yeah.
Front doors. I'm seeing
Mhm.
lots of different colored front doors. Are they having sort of a moment with color?
Oh, yes. I mean, I
Mm.
don't, let's see, when did that start? I would say that's been around for a while,
Yeah.
but people have gotten a little bit more interested
Adventurous.
in, yes, in making it just have some personality. And, when you think about it, it is just paint usually. So, the idea that you can just kind of paint it if you get tired of it. But yes, I even consulted someone, I think it was last year, who was trying to figure out, they had kind of three doors that were from the front of their house, and they were trying to figure out, they wanted a pink door, and they were trying to figure out if they wanted all three pink or you just have the front door pink, all this
So wait,
which
let me get that right. So is it one of those doors where you have the door and then on the side you have windows as part of the door frame? Is that what it
yes.
was?
Well, this was, yes, those are called side lights. I think that's the
Okay.
technical term for them on either side. And usually those stay the same color as the trim of your house. So if you have white trim or black trim, usually that stays. It's just
Okay.
the door itself that's the color. And no, hers, it was like a basement door, and then there was some sort of balcony door. Like there was some
Oh,
other
you're
doors.
talking about all different doors. Should they all be changed to that one color?
Yes.
That's
So
that's known as a call a Mary Joe.
that's
I would
right.
not even I would not
It,
even
it,
know.
right, yeah, it usually depends, but usually if you want one statement color, it's just on the front. That's usually the rule of thumb I have. But yeah, I mean, I've seen, especially in DC, there's been some really fun ones I've seen. Yellow, purple,
Mm.
coral. People were really into like a coral or like a
Mm.
persimmon, orangey red color for a while. Right now, I think people are interested in blues and greens. I just saw like a really pretty deep emerald green color, or a like even like a teal, like a blue teal. If they kind of want it to be not navy and not white or black, but something, in that same kind of vein. Or even the sage greens,
Mm.
like the minty sagey greens. I've seen a lot of those as well.
It
Something that kind
really
of looks
doesn't
like nature.
doesn't it make a like an amazing difference in a statement,
It
and
does.
it doesn't cheese it up, it actually elevates it and makes it look more opulent with the right color and just that one like pop at the door. It's almost and it invites you in, your eye goes right to it. But it's got
Yes.
to be the right color. That's the I think the key point, right?
Yes, it has to be the right color. And I could say, I usually tend to go with something that feels like like a strong color, but there is a balance between that and something that feels a little too, yeah, I don't know how to put it, but it can feel a little too garish, maybe is the right word.
Too
It can
bold.
feel too
Too,
strong. Yeah,
yeah.
it needs to have the right kind of tone to it. But it's a beautiful look, especially if
Mm.
it's your favorite color. That's usually what people want to see when they come home, is their favorite color on the door. So
I got to
that's
tell you, if I was doing that, I would call you. I'm
I'm
serious. I'm so totally serious. I don't think I could do it. I'd have ideas. Well, what does this look like? And I would be in between. Again, like you said, it's just paint. But at the same time, I want to do it right. I'm do it right the first time. So
Yes,
I would need to
I would be
consult.
happy to help. Yes, it is daunting. I will say that a lot of my clients, that's one of their big hangups, is they can't figure out what color, which is what
Hmm.
I thrive in. So I have thousands that I can pull from for you.
Well, I learned from you right here how older folks usually gravitate to crazier colors and like hot pink and teals and everything because their eyes are not as strong as they used to be, so they're not seeing the brightness of the color. We walk in and we're like, well, oh my gosh, what's going on there. I never knew that. And that makes perfect sense. How do we connect with you, Mary Jo? What's the best way?
Yes, I'd love to connect. My website is the best way to get a hold of me, which is riseinteriors.co.
Simple. It's a conversation. And we're just skimming one thing here, just having fun with, 5 ways to simplify your seasonal decorating. But there's so much more that goes into this, so much more that you can direct somebody with when it comes to their design, the colors, the patterns, all of that. So just go to the website, start the conversation. Thank you so much for today.
Oh, you're welcome.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.